Hey, what's up guys? In this video we're going to talk about the HTML attributes. The HTML attributes provide additional information about an element. The attributes are always specified in the start tag of the element, and the attributes are usually came in the name value pair. Like in example, whenever we use the anchor tag, then the anchor tag have the href attribute, and the href attribute specifies the URL of the page the link goes to. Like in example, we can put the link to the google.com. So we have created the link to the google.com using the href attribute. So now we're going to talk about the source attribute. So whenever we use the img tag, then it came with the source attribute. The source attribute specifies the path to the image to be displayed. Like an example, we can put the name of the image img.jpg. And there are two ways to specify the URL of the source attribute. Either we can use the absolute URL or we can use the relative URL. So the absolute URL links to an external image that is hosted by another website. Like an example, so this kind of links usually contains the domain of another website. Like an example, xyz.com. We can also use the relative URL. The relative URL links to an image that is hosted within the website, and the relative URL usually started with a slash, and this is relative to the current page. And the img tag also came with the width and the height attribute. So the width and height specifies the width and the height of an image. And next we have the alt attribute. The alt attribute for the img tag specifies an alternate text for an image if the image fails to display. So whenever the image fails to display, then we get to see the text inside the alt attribute. And next we're going to talk about the style attribute. The style attribute is used to add style to an element. Like an example, we have the p tag. Now inside the starting p tag, we're going to use the style attribute. Now we can change the color, or we can set the font size of the paragraph. And next we have the lang attribute. The lang attribute inside the HTML tag declared the language of the web page. Like an example, inside the starting HTML tag, we're gonna write lang, and then we can select any language. And now we're going to talk about the title attribute. So inside the starting tag, we can use the title attribute, and we can set one title. So the title attribute defines some extra information about an element, and one title will be displayed as a tooltip while we put the mouse over the element. So now we're going to talk about the quotation of the attribute value. So it is always recommended to quote the attribute value to avoid unexpected result. Like an example, we have the anchor tag with the href attribute. Now it is always recommended to use quotation around the attribute value, and this way we can avoid unexpected result. So we can either use single or double quotes. So the double quotes around the attribute value are most common in HTML, but we can also use the single quotes. So when the attribute value itself contains the double quotes, then it is necessary to use the single quotes. Like an example, we have the p tag, and inside the p tag we have the title attribute. Now while printing the title, we can either use single quote or double quote, but we have to use single quote when the title itself contains a double quote. Similar way, when the title itself contains single quote, then we have to use double quote around the attribute value. So hope you understand about all the attributes of one HTML tag. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.